Many people who start getting panic attacks go on to develop agoraphobia. Agoraphobia is an anxiety disorder where you avoid places where you don't feel safe or can't easily escape from. Agoraphobia is a really debilitating condition which can leave people housebound. So it's really important to understand why agoraphobia develops so that you can prevent it from happening to you. In this video I'm going to explain how it happens and also explain, if it has already happened, how it can be possible to reverse it. So be sure to watch to the end. Now, I don't receive any money for making these videos, and I don't currently work in any field linked with mental health. I do, however, have various qualifications in talking therapies and did practice as a counsellor for several years. So I have a fair bit of knowledge about anxiety disorders, which I want to share to the millions of people who suffer with anxiety problems. So all I ask is that you like and share my videos so that I can share that knowledge with as many people as possible. To explain how agoraphobia develops, I'm going to use a fictitious character called Amanda. Although I made her up, her story is typical of what happens to many others who develop agoraphobia, and you may recognize aspects of her story in your own if you suffer from panic attacks or agoraphobia. Amanda was always quite a nervous person, although she did not have an anxiety disorder. She particularly hated hospitals and avoided them as much as she could. This probably stemmed from her childhood, when she saw her grandmother in hospital shortly before her grandmother died. Last year, Amanda's husband Steve fell ill and had to go to hospital. Amanda was extremely worried about Steve, but also the thought of going to hospital, which she had managed to avoid for years. But with Steve being so ill, Amanda had no choice but to go and see him in hospital. On arrival at the hospital, Amanda saw Steve with tubes in his arm and equipment all around him. It brought back images of her grandmother. She suddenly noticed her heart was racing, which scared her. Then she found she could not breathe. Her throat felt like there was something stuck in it, and she found it really hard to swallow. She was dripping with sweat and holding her chest. Steve worried that Amanda was having a heart attack and pulled the emergency cord. The nurses came, and over the next few hours, they confirmed there was nothing wrong with Amanda, and she had just had a panic attack. Amanda vowed that she would never go into a hospital again. Over the next few weeks, Steve recovered, but Amanda worried about the panic attack. What if the doctors had it wrong? What if it was a heart problem, or a tumour in her throat or something? Even if it was just a panic attack, it was still embarrassing. What if it happened again? She worried and worried, but she had to go out and get her groceries. At the supermarket, she kept checking the exit was near in case she had to get out. 10 minutes into her shopping, it happened again. The heart racing, the choking feeling, not being able to breathe. Amanda left her trolley and ran out of the supermarket. She vowed never to go in a supermarket again. Amanda and her family were due to go on holiday, but what if she had a panic attack on a plane? How would she escape? Much to the disappointment of her family, Amanda cancelled the holiday. Shortly after cancelling the holiday, Amanda had a panic attack in the car, so she stopped driving. The thought of taking the bus was even worse, because she would not be able to get off immediately if she had a panic attack, so she stopped using buses also. Amanda used to sing in the church choir, but that would put her at the front of the church, a long way from the exit. And now that she had stopped driving, she could not get there anyway, so Amanda stopped going to church. Over the next few months, Amanda stopped going to the office, stopped walking the kids to school, stopped visiting her elderly mother, who lived on the other side of town, and even stopped visiting her friend Diana, who only lived around the corner. The only place Amanda felt safe was at home, but home now felt like a prison. That prison is called agoraphobia. But how did this happen? Why did Amanda develop agoraphobia? Why did her panic attacks get worse and worse? Is agoraphobia inevitable for people who get panic attacks? Is stronger and stronger medication the only solution? Let's have a look at what was going on in Amanda's brain during this period. A part of the brain called the hippocampus deals with memory. This is not the sort of memory you use to remember your times table or how to read, but it does deal with learning what is dangerous and what is not. It remembers what you need to fear, and the hippocampus is located very close to the part of the brain called the amygdala that creates the fear response. That's the racing heart and the fast breathing, etc. The hippocampus does not learn from textbooks, it learns from what you do. When Amanda cancelled her flight and stopped going to the supermarket, the hippocampus learned that planes and supermarkets are not safe places. When she stopped taking the bus and stopped going to church, the fear circuits in the hippocampus got stronger. By the time she had stopped driving and stopped visiting her friend, the fear circuits in her hippocampus were now well established. Her avoidance behavior has taught her hippocampus to be scared of all the places that she fears might trigger a panic attack. So if she has to go to any of them, the hippocampus is likely to tell the amygdala to activate the fight or flight response, i.e. a panic attack. And this is the biggest thing that she fears, the panic attack itself, which it seems can happen anywhere, which means in time she will not even feel safe at home. Amanda managed to find a counsellor who would come to her home. The counsellor had trained in cognitive behavioural therapy. The counsellor taught Amanda how to challenge the thoughts that made her avoid things. Importantly, she also taught her how to manage a panic attack so that it was less scary. She made a list of all the things that she wanted to be able to do again and rated how scared she was to do them. She then started with very simple tasks, like sitting on her front wall for 10 minutes. A week later, she went to her friend Diana's house around the corner. She felt a bit panicky at first, but she used what the therapist had taught her, and the panic soon passed. Amanda was glad to be able to visit Diana again, was even able to drive, albeit just around the corner. Feeling more confident, Amanda decided to do the weekly shop at the supermarket. But when she got there and saw how busy it was, a full-blown panic attack started. She forgot everything she had learned about how to manage the panic attack and ran out of the supermarket. Amanda felt very depressed and considered not going to therapy. It obviously wasn't working, and in a strange way, she felt like she had let herself and the therapist down. However, she pushed herself and went to see her therapist that week. The therapist explained that she had let no one down, and these setbacks are quite common. The therapist suggested that she carry on doing the things that she now found easy, like visiting Diana, and then try the supermarket again next week. Only this time she should make it a bit easier by just buying a few things instead of doing the full weekly shop. That way she would only be in the supermarket for a few minutes. Over the next 6 months, Amanda was able to take her kids to school, drive further, go to church, and visit her mother on the other side of town. Of course, she had a few setbacks in this period, but her determination saw her through. Not only had she got her life back, but the panic attacks became very few and far between. You see, by reversing the avoidance, Amanda retrained her hippocampus to learn that panic attacks are not something to be feared. Amanda could still not bring herself to go on an aeroplane, so she took her holidays locally, but she could live with that. Maybe she would work up to that next year or the year after. You see, panic attacks and agoraphobia is a sliding scale, and your actions will decide where on that scale you are. Through life, you may slide up and down that scale, but never stop trying to reach the left-hand side, as your life will be a lot happier and more fulfilling if you do. I hope you found this video useful. I have many more on panic disorder, including a 6-video series on how to manage it using the principles of CBT. So please like, subscribe and share my videos so others with anxiety can benefit. The key to beating anxiety is knowledge. Let's share that knowledge.